With the release of the new trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home, we now have official confirmation that Willem Dafoe will be returning to reprise his role as the Green Goblin from Sam Raimi's 2002 Spider-Man film. But over the past day or so, a small, fun little theory has crept into the back of my mind that I felt I needed to share. What if the Norman Osborn in this film isn't really Norman Osborn, but is Mephisto in disguise? Thanks to dialogue from the new trailer and comments made by Dr. Octopus actor Alfred Molina, we know that most, if not all, the villains come back for this film are playing the same characters from their respective films, picking up from where they had left off. Though there is always the possibility that they could be variants of some kind, this version of Electro looks very different from the one Jamie Foxx portrayed in Amazing Spider-Man 2. It got me thinking about what roles the rest of the antagonists will play, and if there is going to be an overall big bad in the film, especially since it seems that Otto will be aiding Peter and the gang in some capacity. The natural answer would be that it would be Norman Osborn. However, I thought it would be fun if there was a little twist to this version of Norman. What if he wasn't just a variant, but it was actually Mephisto looking for an opportunity to bring down Doctor Strange, while also taking out Peter Parker in the process? Now, I haven't looked at any of the leaks for the film, and I don't have any insider information about the film. What I am about to say is most likely not going to happen, but it is fun to imagine what if. So, allow me to explain. We have Doc Ock, Norman Osborn, Electro, Sandman, and Dr. Connors, aka the Lizard, plucked from their respective worlds, possibly right before they meet their demise via their own Spider-Man. They each have their own goals and agendas, but Norman will be using his cunning and his intellect to unite Electro, Sandman, and Lizard, all under the common goal of avoiding to return to their own worlds and meet their own fate, with Norman being a little too enthusiastic about the idea of taking on the heroes of this new world, including its own Spider-Man. While Sandman and Lizard will probably be a little bit hesitant on this, they will agree to go along with it as they don't really have many other options, while Electro will be fully on board with Norman's plan to take out the new Spider-Man. In the trailer, we see Doc Ock taking on Spider-Man and showing genuine surprise when he sees that this Peter Parker is not his Peter Parker, so I imagine that he's most likely not met Norman Osborn yet while he's recruiting the other villains. There will be tension and some conflict as Peter is caught between knowing what is the responsible path to take, as he's pulled from multiple signs from Doctor Strange, Otto Octavius, and Norman Osborn. While I think Octavius will be more genuine with Peter, I still do love the idea of Norman being this master manipulator, pulling the strings on all the different characters as he tries to achieve his own goal, and it wouldn't help Peter's conscience as he's discovered that the villains are doomed to be killed by Spider-Man in their own worlds. And with Strange being apathetic about the whole ordeal, Peter's mind is being clouded as he thinks about what is the right thing to do. This will be the perfect opportunity for Norman Osborn to strike. It's heavily hinted at that someone close to Peter will die in the film. Whether that's MJ or Aunt May or someone else, we're not going to know until the film comes out. And if that were to happen, this will be Peter at his lowest point. Inconsolable at this point, this is when Norman decides to play his part. Norman will take this opportunity to try and get Peter on his side. Peter's spider sense will be flaring out of control as Norman offers Peter a deal to save the ones he loves. All Peter has to do is strike off one day in his life. Now, is it going to be the day that his identity was outed? That does seem to be the logical option, as that's the catalyst for the whole film's plot. Or it could be the day that his Uncle Ben died. Maybe we'll even get a flashback to this happening the first time we'll see this in the MCU. Or, how about the day that he was bitten by the spider? Now Peter has to imagine what the world would be like if there was no Spider-Man at all. What if he wasn't there to help the Avengers take on Thanos? What if he wasn't there to stop Vulture or Mysterio? All the while, Norman will be pushing and pushing for Peter to take this deal. Ultimately, Peter will reject the deal, as he feels that he needs to take on the responsibility as Spider-Man. At this point, Norman's facade is completely destroyed, and that's when Peter and Strange discover that he's not really the Norman Osborn that he claims to be. He's not the Green Goblin, he's actually something else entirely. Now, maybe Strange will recognize him as Mephisto, or he will himself declare himself as such. Either way, Mephisto will still have powerful allies on his side, but Peter has allies on his side too. He'll have Doctor Strange, he'll perhaps have Otto Octavius, perhaps even Sandman, and maybe two other people who know about power and responsibility, but I'm not going to say anything more about that yet. There's a multiverse of madness as Peter fights the villains while Strange has to hold off Mephisto. In the end, the good guys will win. Mephisto is seemingly defeated, but not without a parting gift. After all, Strange now has a lot of cosmic mess that he has to fix, which will lead into his own film, Multiverse of Madness, which is coming out next year, while Mephisto has laid the seed of doubt into someone close to Peter. Ned is the type of person who will do anything to help his best friend, even if it means putting himself in danger, even if it means making a deal with the devil himself, even if it means perhaps taking inspiration from that devil's disguise to create his own alter ego. but that's an entirely different theory. Anyway, I highly doubt that this is what's going to happen in the film. I do believe that Willem Dafoe is playing the same Goblin from the Raimi trilogy. This was just a fun idea that I thought would make for an interesting story, a potential setup for future adventures in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And to finally put a rest to those Mephisto rumors, because you know it's going to continue until he eventually does show up.